Ultimately, doing some sketching with just pure India ink is a great idea, but start with just pencil. So shapes, breaking down those shapes and just working very lightly. And this is Guess How Much I Love You, Anita Jeram. It's a lovely book. And she's got a lovely technique. This is India ink, pen line, and then with watercolor. And we'll get to watercolor and we'll use this as an example because it is absolutely lovely. It's got a very nice pen line. It's very loose. And then really simple elements. And her style is a bit like Quentin Blake. Really loose. That's what he is a master of. So there's our pencil line. Now I'm going to come with my India ink and go right over top. And of course, variation in pressure to reduce a different quality to the line. And there's not a great deal of pressure here. It's a very consistent pressure. So she's got a simple sketch line. It's very gentle. And this is, again, one of the things that's so useful about doing reproductions is that you're analyzing the content. So with Jeram, you don't want to be putting a lot of pressure here. There's a relaxed quality to it. And that comes through then in the image itself. So just a little bit of texture, just little strokes here. When you are copying someone's work, you get into their head, and it's so interesting, just the little subtleties that she has. So here we have our pen line, our holding line, and the next step is to let the ink dry before you erase. And then we'll come back and we're going to do, rather than doing this as a watercolor, I'm going to dilute the India ink in a mixing tray with some water and produce the value. So we're going to do a value study all in ink. So this is what we call ink and wash. So you see how that's a very light wash. It's kind of like dirty water. And what we're looking to do is mimic the values that we're seeing here. Obviously not the hues, but the values. So I'm going to come in and just stroke in this light wash. Note that she doesn't just coat the whole thing with color, that there is some variation there. So some white, and that's watercolor, that's a traditional watercolor technique where you leave white. Traditionally with washes, go light to dark. Okay, so there's our initial wash, and that will dry a little bit lighter. Notice what difference even that light wash makes. Now I can go in with that exact same wash and just intensify. And that is what we call going wet in wet. So what you get is a looser application, and it's not as even a distribution of the value. And once it is dry, it's not like watercolor. You can't reactivate it. So watercolor dries about, a good third lighter. Wash is not quite the same level of depreciation in value. I'm going with my darkest wash here. It will dry lighter. And what we're of course doing is mimicking the values. And this is one of the key things. Before you do color, you should explore the achromatic, the black and white. Draw your character, do your character in the ink and wash as well. So analyze content, practice, and we'll see you next week.